I was having technical difficulties, you guys. I was starting to panic. I had to leave the room. I had to restart everything. But we are here. We are live. Hello. Thank you all for joining me today. This is Crypto News with Julie Kennis. I'm your host, Julie Kennis, and I have a very exciting show for you guys today. Thank you for patiently waiting. Thank you for my mods in the chat. Jesse, he was playing a very delayed April Fool's joke on everyone and wiped all of the comments away to say that he was numero uno. I like the enthusiasm. That's great. I love the enthusiasm. So thank you all for joining. I am pushing out to X today. If you could so kindly retweet the room, give it a little share. I don't know. My technology is not technologying right now, so I'm not going to push any more buttons and aggravate things because I have a special guest that has joined us today. So let's go ahead and bring him up. Oh my gosh, I gave myself just enough time to take a drink of coffee. Welcome back, Brad.
Thank you so much for bringing me on again and giving me my own special intro and everything.
I know you have your own special intro. I knew I was going to enjoy having you on, so I had to just keep you logged in there. I did. I kept your little deck in there because I was like, I'm probably going to have Brad back. So welcome back.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me on again. There's so much to talk about, and there's a lot of people in the comments.
There are a lot of people in the comments. Yeah, shout out to them. They're all over on YouTube. I don't see too many comments coming through on X. But if you're on X, you can go join us on YouTube, or you can start your own conversation. The conversation starters. So I have to say, so you were down in St. Louis. I have to ask, how far is the drive from St. Louis to Chicago? How long does that take?
Without traffic, it's normally like 4.5 hours, but I have an electric vehicle, so I have to charge for like 40 minutes on the way. So
okay. So is that 2 stops for you?
Just one. Well, it depends. In the winter, if it's like super cold, sometimes more than one. But yeah, normally.
So is that because the heater runs more, it draws more power? Is that what that is, or?
It's partly that, but also battery range drops significantly when it's really cold.
Oh. Yeah. I didn't know. And is it the same for heat as well, or is it just when it's really cold?
No, when it's hot, it's pretty good. It's fine. It's really when it's really cold, it's when the range drops off pretty significantly. So I've had to stop a couple times in the winter.
So are you in a Tesla?
I'm not. No. I'm not. No. I have a Rivian actually. So R1S.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're probably safer in that right now. I think Teslas are being targeted. So
I'll tell you, I have to check my car though, because people are mistaking Rivians for Teslas. And I've seen people get their Rivians keyed. I'm like, what is going on here?
Oof.
So I always check my car, and it has the camera. You know, that's what I think is funny is people are doing that, and then they're on camera. It's like
they get caught. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's so funny. So I have to say, earlier today, do you follow David Gokhshtein? Do you ever watch him?
I do follow him. Yeah.
You do. So he does his morning show, The Breakdown, and he went missing this morning. I'm actually kind of sad because I was going to pull up some stuff from the intern. We have some interns at G Media. We've been rebranding. We're now the Gokhshtein News Network. We are GNN. So it's very, I laugh because it sounds very boomerish to me, but I like it because it's very formal. And so they have this whole very formal aesthetic. And so in the evening, they're doing the nightly recap. And we have these interns that are writing the script. Now, I feel lucky because I'm just like reading articles that have been pre-approved to be posted out. But they have been giving him some really funny little tidbits to add in there, which is hilarious. So I had to pull up this little clip because this is what David has been reminding me of lately.
In other news, The Prime Minister of Sweden visited Washington today, and my tiny little nipples went to France.
What did he just say?
Check the prompter.
Prompter's fine.
Evan, read the copy, please. The copy's good. Just read it.
The White House Reception Committee greeted the Prime Rib Roast Minister, and I do the cha-cha like a sissy girl. I like a do the cha-cha.
So over the weekend, they were reading the script, and oh my gosh, you guys, that's exactly what popped in my head. I added the little GIF in our group chat of I like a dua the cha cha. So I had to poke fun of him a little bit. And David also does his chipmunk voice, which got me here too.
A potential scandal with the Buffalo PD surfaced today when the mayor demanded that the chip. What the mayor demanded that the chip as a response to allegations. I'm sorry.
It's just silly. We're silly. We're silly, you guys. Yeah, it is. I think it is. Is that Bruce Almighty? Is that? I don't know if that's Bruce Almighty. I think it is Bruce Almighty. Yeah, such a great movie. Such a great movie.
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. So anyway, yeah, ever since, and then oh my gosh, when I was like looking for the clip and I found the part of when he started talking like the chipmunk, I almost died because David does the chipmunk voice. He'll do it like all serious in his.
Really? That's a special talent.
Yes. No, he it's just like it's like a setting on his road. His it's so funny. His little audio thing. Anyway, I had to poke fun of him, and he's gone missing today. So, David, I don't know where you're at. I don't know where you're at, but we're looking for you today. We're looking for you today. So
it was unannounced. He was supposed to be on.
He was supposed to be on today. You guys, he's gone missing. In fact, he's done this before. I'm going to come up with like a missing persons thing that I'm going to, whenever he goes missing, I'm going to just like start showing that for David.
Like a milk box.
Poe Man said I can sound like a 47-year-old smoker. Are you a 47-year-old smoker, Poe Man? Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Okay. Anyway, so I do want to talk about some exciting stuff. I want to talk to you about some real world assets because the last time I had you on, I was talking about real world assets with you. And then I realized after I spoke with my mom, who watches every single one of my shows, she's like, I had no idea what you guys were talking about. So for the normies out there, they didn't get that. They did what we said and what you do. I had to kind of explain it a little more. So you were saying that you have a fleet. And when we say like a fleet, there are devices in vehicles that have been deployed across a fleet of vehicles. Is that correct?
Yes. So, okay. So with DeepIn, there's a bunch of projects that are like pretty much legitimate businesses. Like in HiveMapper's case, you can put a dash cam in your windshield to collect street level imagery, and they're building a fresher map than what Google Maps has and other maps have. So you can get really up-to-date current imagery. Okay, so that's just one example. And the more you drive, the more tokens you earn for doing so. So it's instead of owning stock in a company, you basically get tokens, right? So yeah, I built out a fleet, and I built it out right when it started. But I had like 100.
And
drivers.
so they're all on HiveMapper, or are they on HiveMapper and Demo?
Both.
They're on both. Okay.
Yeah, so I doubled down. So basically set up dash cams with them, and then also set up demo units in their car, which basically that unlocks their vehicle data and can be leveraged in different ways, but you're in tokens for both.
Right. And so that, like I tell people, that is like you're basically selling your driving data. And some like newer cars kind of already have the, I guess you'd call it like a computer smart device built in. Like the Tesla, I believe Demo just does a code. Is that correct? And then other cars you plug in, right?
Yeah. Like Teslas, if you have a smart vehicle, you can actually just connect to the app for free and start earning tokens. You don't even have to buy a device. So
that's crazy.
It is. And I think last I checked, I think they have 180,000 vehicles connected, somewhere in that range. So it's growing quite a bit. And they have an awesome team. But there's a lot of projects like that you can just participate in and passively and earn tokens for doing so.
Now, let me ask you a little more backing up about the Hive Mapper, because that's one that I've always been really interested in, but it had a really long lead time. Do they still have the really long lead time? If someone wants to buy a Hive Mapper today, what's the lead? Is it still like 9 months?
No, it should be a lot less. They're catching up now. So what happened was they opened up pre-orders and then they changed to a new model of their dash cam, and the development process took longer than they expected. So that is why they had the big delay. But they're shipping like 600 units a week right now, and they're ramping up from there. So I believe once they're caught up here pretty soon, there shouldn't be a terribly long wait, especially because the token prices have come down across the board. So that obviously impacts demand. Like when the market's up, everyone puts in orders. So I think they're still working through that backlog, but they should be caught up pretty soon.
Right. Okay. So, what about price? Because I think when I looked at a Hive Mapper, it was like $800 or $900 USD.
Ooh, I don't think it's that much.
It's not that much. Okay.
Well, let's see.
I could be wrong.
589 is
589. Okay. So it is a little cheaper. I think when I first looked, I want to say it was closer to 800 or 900. And I remember at the time going, I could have that kind of deployed in coins right now and participating more in the market versus the Hive Mapper. But I am extremely interested in the Hive Mapper because Suburban was telling me, our good friend Suburban was telling me I could go onto their website and look and see if there's a current Hive Mapper in my area. And if the route I'm driving isn't currently being mapped, then it's more profitable than for me to be maybe participating. So
yeah, so it definitely depends on the location, but you're right. Then when market conditions are really bad and the token prices for some of these go down, you're almost better off buying the token at certain price levels, because it could take you 2 years to break even
to accumulate, right?
To accumulate that many tokens. So it changes very quickly, though. Obviously, as like we get back into like a bull market and the prices go up, well, that equation changes. But where we've been at, it's probably not a bad idea if you wanted to get into the project, to buy the token itself over the hardware. It really just depends. It's always a fluid situation, but yeah.
So how did you get into becoming sort of a distributor or supplier, I should say, for the fleet?
So I got in with Helium first.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people in DeepIn got in with Helium first, and I started setting up hotspots with just a couple of my friends. And then I figured, I can expand this out more, and started a referral program. And then people started calling me, asking me for Helium devices. So figured out how to set up an LLC and like an actual business. And so I expanded that. And then I was like, well, there's gonna be other projects in DeepIn I can do the same thing with. So that's when I found Hive Mapper. I've done the same thing with Demo. I have, GeoNet devices. I also invest a lot in the GeoNet token, but yeah, there's a number of different projects out there. There's a lot of node projects too that are setting up like decentralized cloud services to kind of do what AWS is doing in a decentralized way. So there's a lot of different projects out there. And
it's just like plugging in a server, basically. Yeah. Wow. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. And what would the entry point on something like that look like? Do you know?
It ranges. Some of them are do it yourself. Like you can actually like build your own nodes. Some are range anywhere from $700 to $1,200. So the price on some of them is a little bit higher than others. But I basically look at projects that I'm interested in getting into, look at their market cap, and then I decide, okay, do I want to deploy hardware with this? Or if the market cap's super low, sometimes it's better just to buy the token and sit on it for the market to move up. But there's a ton of really good DeepIn projects. If you look at my X page, the post I have at the top is my most recent market update video. And I run through like a ton of projects and what they're doing and what they're building, basically.
Oh, love it. So, and then you said, did you say you were going to start doing is it a daily live stream, or how often are you going to start doing that, do you think?
Yeah. So I'm really excited about it. I'm so excited
Yeah.
about it. So I'm going to be doing like the DePIN market update, do a broader market update and touch on that, but definitely on the macro economy too, because right now more than ever, I think the macro economy, we need to keep an eye on what's going on there because it's going to have such a direct impact on all of our investments. So kind of start off very deep and focused and broaden out and then do like a macro lesson of the day. So I'm super excited about that. Like explaining things like what the Japan carry trade is and explain like what's going on in the commodity markets and stuff like that. So super
Nice.
excited.
Yeah. I think it's fun when you get to do your own show. Like I was really afraid to start because I wasn't really sure on structure and things like that, but it's totally evolved and taken on its own sort of life form.
For sure. I love your show. It's so fun.
It's silly. I try and make it silly. You know, it has to be fun. And I feel like, you know, a lot of crypto shows could be so serious sometimes, and I feel like we're not a serious space at all. So I kind of try and bring some more of that fun to it. So
You make it fun. There's something I watch where I'm like, it's it's like Ferris Bueller when he's like Bueller, and it's just like so boring. I'm like,
oh, that's
like
that's a good one to add in for a soundbite. That's a good soundbite. Now you've got me thinking here. You got me thinking. My mom, she was like, I like when you do the Family Guy clip.
oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I just have fun with it.
Oh, is that me freezing? I don't know. Is that me freezing too, or is that just Julie? I don't know if it's me.
That's me. That's my internet cutting out. Yes, thank you guys. We are back. We are back.
I thought it was
Hopefully it
maybe just
doesn't
me.
do that again. Oh no, okay, now I've bumped up again. You know, I live sort of out in the boondocks. I like live on the outskirts of town. I know, it's my internet again. I live on the outskirts of town, and so sometimes the internet is just really spotty out here. And I have boosters and all the things, and it doesn't want to cooperate always. So
You're going to Vegas, right?
I'm going to Vegas. Did you book your trip yet?
I have my flight booked. So yeah, I'm going to be
Yay!
coming out. I think
Yay!
Chris Bagnell's coming. I know Suburban's going to be there.
Yes. He's driving. I know he's driving.
He does not like to fly.
He does not like to fly.
He'll be driving.
Yeah, it's not that far, and I'm sure it's probably a really neat drive for him coming that back way and then like through the desert. I've gone up. If I go like from where I live, like kind of SoCal area, I go kind of over through the desert, but I can keep going up. And that's like I drove to Salt Lake City, and I thought in my mind the drive was going to be really pretty, and it really wasn't. It was just like after the desert you get back to more farmland, and I'm like, okay,
It's kind of boring.
well, I've done that now, but I always just love to drive up to the Pacific Northwest. So anyway, I'm excited he's going to be there. I've not met him in person yet, so
I haven't either.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to I'll have to connect with him offline and find out the details on like where he's staying. And I know he was kind of up in the air on it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We should all get together. We'll have to get like dinner or something one night. It'd be fun.
Yeah, for sure. That's what is the best part is for me is like the people who you want to build better relationships with, like that's your chance to meet with them offline, kind of pick their brain, figure out stuff to work on together. So yeah, I love being, and I have not been to a crypto event in a while. Did you go to any last year?
I went to Consensus
Oh, you went
last
to
year.
Consensus. Okay.
Yeah, so I met a lot of project founders up there. It's actually really good for networking because I've interviewed a lot of them on my channel now.
So you went to Toronto Consensus
went to
or
the one
Austin?
in Austin.
Oh, okay, I went to the one in Austin too. Yeah.
Oh no, you're there.
Yeah, I was there.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
dang.
good. Yeah, Austin was great. I tried to hit all of them last year that I could, and I was a little exhausted by the end of the year. I was ready for conference season to end.
I feel
I was
that.
like, I've had enough.
I'll tell you what, I got more out of like the breakout sessions, I think, outside of the event. Like there's so many good happy hours and so many good networking events that were nice. You get to see like project founders speak. So but it was a cool event, and I have a buddy down in Austin, so I got to hang out with some friends and stuff too.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, Austin is such a great city. I don't think I realized it was as quirky as it is. And
Yeah.
so there's just like it's just kind of a melting pot of people, and it's very I like to people watch, so it's a great place.
It's great for that, for sure. Are you gonna get your mom
Yeah.
out to Vegas too, or just you?
No, it'll just be me. I wish she would come with me, but we had talked about it initially. I'm gonna get her to one of these things, and she participates in some stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, as I continue to grow and expand and participate in things, I'm sure she'll start tagging along to more of the stuff with me.
That'll
It's
be
just hard because a
fun.
lot of this stuff is during the week, and she still works. She's like, she's a go-getter. She works in renewables, and yeah, she's very, very busy. So, in fact, I was going to ask you, when you were with SunPower, did you ever fly out to California and do any work out here?
I did fly out to California a couple of
Okay.
times, but we had moved our main office to Austin actually. So that
Oh,
yeah, at the time. But I was out in California a couple times, and I was out in California. I worked for a drone company when I was in DC. I was in California a couple times for that too. So there's a lot
okay.
of really large scale solar arrays that we did inspections on. So
Oh,
um,
okay. Yeah. So, because I was thinking about it, and then I was like, well, I know SunPower because the contractor I worked for was AC Electric, and they did a lot of the bigger projects out in Mojave Desert and stuff like that. So, I worked on one big utility scale project, but we were doing like the permitting through to the construction process. So, we did like the entitlements, the pre construction phase, never
mhm.
even got to the permit and break ground. We were like, board of supervisors shot us down, and it was crazy. Like I didn't even know board of supervisors could go till 2 o'clock in the morning, but yeah, our planning commission hearing and board of supervisors stuff ran super late, and people were fighting us from the desert, and it was crazy.
Those
Crazy
utility scale
time.
solar sites in many cases are like out in the middle of nowhere too.
Yeah.
Like it's people like basically move out there for 6 months a year to be on the
Hmm.
job site out there. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. So you ran the drones checking for like hot spots and stuff to correct and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got to see all the big sites that were coming online. Like there was a 1 gigawatt site being built in Texas, like massive
Wow.
sites. Yeah. But I get up to California a decent amount. I have friends in the Bay, in Sacramento and Anaheim, up to Santa Rosa, LA. So I get out there normally once a year.
Um, they keep talking about the fact that AI is going to require more electricity to continue to
Oh
power
yeah.
it. So I kind of wonder how that's going to go in terms of are we going to expand into renewables, or are we now looking at tipping into a point where it's like now we have to start looking at nuclear? Because that's something we've kind of always had a lot of resistance against, but I feel like this is going to be the tipping point to tip us into nuclear. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. Actually, it's funny. I was just reading about this. So I was reading about like there's like going to be a really big run on commodities in the next 5-10 years, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that, like you said, AI needs so much energy, and then you also have emerging countries are using more and more electricity. So I
Mhm.
think uranium is a really interesting asset to look to invest in because apparently we only have 2 years worth of uranium to power our current nuclear plants. So there
Mhm.
is certainly going to be a lot of demand there. And then coal, believe it or not, even though we're getting away from coal in the US, China has been stockpiling coal
Yep.
because they're getting ready for the AI push. And then emerging countries have a lot of demand for coal. In the article I was reading, they're talking about how we saw a similar thing with lead back when we
Mhm.
started to get away from lead in the US. We stopped putting money into um, building the lead supply, and it was still globally there's a lot of demand, and the price skyrocketed because
Mhm.
global demand is going up. I think we're going to see a similar thing with coal, and I agree. I think with nuclear, uranium's interesting. I think we'll see more nuclear plants as well.
I think we have to. And it's funny to me because here there's always been such a stigma with nuclear energy, and when I lived in Australia, up until 2012, for 5 years, I saw several nuclear plants. That was just common there. They just didn't have the same negative stigma around nuclear energy as we do here. And so it's funny because I am pro solar, but I am pro solar for other reasons than like I support nuclear as well, because I do think we need more than just what solar can provide. But I mean, solar is one of the few assets that you can put on your home to generate money off of. It's not a whole lot you can do, and it's encouraged. So it's like, it surprises me that more people don't do it. So
I agree. Yeah, well, you got to think in California, electric rates are way higher, right? You guys get more sunlight than a lot of the other areas of the country. Generally, the East and West Coast, the electricity rates are much higher, so solar makes a lot more sense in those markets. When you get to the Midwest, energy is pretty cheap, so you generally need some sort of state incentive to move the needle. Over time, though, I guess the cost of hardware has come down, but you still have labor costs, so that's always going to be an aspect. But I think we're only going to see energy costs go up over time. So I think solar will make more and more sense as that happens, for sure. And then storage, you need storage. I mean, once you get storage, California is that way. I mean, once you get a high enough percentage of solar on the grid, you need to have the storage aspect to, with it. So.
Yeah, John Germain says, was it Portugal who went 100% renewable energy and the grid went down and now they're in the dark? Yeah, they've been in the dark, I think, for 4 or 5 days now. And it's funny because my house it's isolated. So it's like, it's one of those batteries that will kick on. But of course, if I use more than the battery has, then the battery will kick off until the sunlight comes back. And so it's, it's hit and miss depending on what appliances are running around the house. It says it can run for 4 hours. It doesn't run for 4 hours. It's maybe 2. It gives you enough time to like plug in your devices, get things charged, battery packs, etc. But yeah, it's not like a backup generator. But those are a lot more expensive. We looked at those for a while. The electric situation out here in California is just awful.
Yeah, it depends on how much storage you have, right? There's certain batteries that are really for shifting demand because you guys pay a lot more at like 5 p.m. than the rest of the day. So you can shift your demand from your solar. And then the battery chemistry too. Like if you go to like lithium iron phosphate, there's a lot more storage. So you can back up a lot more and charge it 100%. Whereas with lithium ion, you really don't want to charge it 100%. So it starts to degrade the battery health. So.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, I started to move away from solar when we started to put the batteries on houses. So I didn't quite get into the whole workings of, I mean, I understood how we would, have the battery push back at peak time and things like that, but not how like the actual mechanics of the battery work. So,
yeah, for sure. In California, they got rid of net metering, right? Or they changed their net metering policy. So you used to get 100% of credit for what you sent to the grid.
Right.
And that changed. So now like every system has batteries on it. That changed like a couple of years ago.
Right. It was unfortunate. The way that it worked, when solar first started, you could pretty much build out as much as you wanted, and whatever you pushed back, they would pay you for. And then they started to roll that back. And so then I think it went from like 11 cents to 7 cents export electricity down to 3 cents export electricity. And then it was just, it just wasn't worth it anymore. So yeah, they've moved away from net energy metering. John Germain saying he's grandfathered in on the net metering. The other thing they're looking at doing here too is kicking people off of the grandfathered rates whenever it switches homeowner. So it's
it's crazy.
It seems so unfair.
Yeah, and I think they did that in Nevada as well. I know Arizona was switching their net metering policy, but for people that made an investment based on net metering and were told they'd be grandfathered in, to take that away seems pretty backwards. I imagine there'd be some lawsuits there, but we'll see.
It's like, yeah, they signed. It's, some people, the people who acted early, they got the state incentive, the national incentive. And so they got the tax credits on both sides. And so that was like 50% of the system cost. Plus they got full compensation on all their export energy. And then, it's the people that got in early are the ones that really cleaned up shop. So I try and encourage people to keep an open mind about it, because there's still people in states that haven't really adopted it yet, or there's like still weird things about it that, it's one of those things where it's like, it's worth it to pay attention, because there could be huge money in it if all of a sudden there's a policy shift, because that's what they've done here. So
for sure. Because like towards the end of my time at SunPower, I started off, I managed Illinois at first. And then by the time I left, I was managing about 10 states. So I was working with the business owners and then training all their sales reps. And we would have, like, Michigan all of a sudden would have like incentives out of nowhere, and it'd become like a hot market. And you could see the we call them storm chasers, like you see with roofs when you have a storm. Right? So we'd see like all these solar companies like flood to that market. But the same thing, once the incentives go away, then they're nowhere to be found.
Right. There was one that popped up here in town, and they would just they were one of those that would pop up in any state as soon as it was good. They would just find a little office, just a tiny little 1-room office, and rent that out. And the salespeople would come meet once a week, and that was it.
That's awesome.
So,
And said John said inverters today, they're bomb. Yeah, like you have the in-phase microinverters. You have what's the other one with the optimizers? There's a couple of big players there, but much better.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what they all the ones that are. I used to deal a lot with SMA. I doubt SMA is even really around anymore.
I think they're mostly utility scale.
What was the? Oh yeah, what is the
Solar Edge?
Solar Edge. Yeah. I did. I used to do the layouts on some of those houses and stuff, because my brother, he has a solar company now, and so I've had to wear every hat in the solar company at some point or another.
Dang, so it's in your family.
It's in my family. We were a family from oil and gas, and then I was like, well, I don't want to do oil and gas because it's just not really my deal. I even started a job at Chevron, and I lasted like 3 days. I was like, this is not for me. And so, but then I ended up in solar, like it was some huge difference. And then I sat back and realized it's really not. Like, I was a data analyst for solar, but I actually left looking at oil well logs at Chevron. So I literally was doing the exact same thing, but for a different energy sector. So it was funny, but I guess the apple doesn't fall far in that respect. So, it all clicked for me. It all clicked for me. Just like it made, and I never really, math wasn't ever my favorite subject, but then as an adult now, I'm into crypto. I was in solar. I was a data analyst. I'm like, doing all of these calculations to get the CEC ratings on things. And oh my gosh, like I wish my math teacher could see me now. Mr. Rios, if you're out there, you would be so proud. It was like, I remember having to like retake algebra. I had to retake advanced algebra. Like every year it was like I had to retake the math in summer school to like go on to the next math. But anyway, he'd be so proud now.
We have some roofers in the comments. Man, I tell you what, on those summer days, because people think it's hot outside, it's like 20 degrees hotter on the roof, and those shingles get so hot. And in the winters too. Winters brutal as well.
Yes, it is. Okay, we've been talking just about all kinds of fun stuff, but I was going to dive into the regular show. I just have fun chatting with you. Plus, we have like a lot of like solar overlapping things to talk about.
Likewise.
So let's take a look at some charts here. I don't even know where we're at right now. I am on the 1 hour chart right here. I wanted to zoom out so we could take a look and just kind of see how we're just kind of trading sideways here. You guys know we had that nice little pop up. And we're all just basically here in a little holding pattern. I made a fun little YouTube video, a little YouTube short about us being in this little holding pattern right here. But yeah, we're all just waiting for some movement there. Ethereum looks extremely similar. It's trading at 1811, and Solana, it is at 148. It also has a very similar pattern, but one that looks different though is ADA. ADA was like, maybe it's because I was out. Hold on. It does not. They're all looking the same, you guys. Dogecoin has the least amount of pop-up here though. Yeah, so it's nothing too exciting going on in the charts, which is why I just waited to kind of pull it up for you. But let me stop sharing this one. Hold on. I pushed buttons I shouldn't have pushed this time, and I knew I shouldn't have. Let me pull up my crypto bubbles because I love the crypto bubbles. And I know people are seeing some of their coins on here that I don't normally talk about, which is why I like to pull it up so everybody can take a look at it. So here we are. These are the top 100 coins and where they are currently trading at. You guys remember when Cake was up only? It's finally not up only. It is finally not up only.
Is that Pancake Swap?
It is Pancake Swap.
Is.
Yes, it is Pancake Swap. For a while there, it was like the only one that was up only, and then the other one was Walrus. Where did Walrus go? Walrus is not up only today either. And the other one I've been looking at quite a bit, you guys, is Monero, and Monero's had a nice little pop here. And they're saying over on Tom Crown's channel that it could potentially pull quite a bit more of a runner here. So let me go here because I like to dip into here because this is where some of my meme coins lie. Oops, let me get rid of this. All right, here we go.
What is Walrus? I was looking at that the other day. What chain is that on?
That's on Sui. Sui.
That's right.
It's on the Sui chain.
I think it's Storage Network, right?
I think so, yeah. I had to end up looking it up because, and this is why I started looking at bubbles more, because for some reason, when I can look at it in this more visual representation of what's going on, it's easier for me. So, and because Fartcoin kept being such a big bubble every day, my mom's been asking about Fartcoin. So it's funny. And it's like, it's smart to do this and look at it this way. So I've kind of leaned into looking at this, but Dog is one that I'm super bullish on, and it has had a nice little pop up. It is up just about 2x now since its bottom. So it is trading at 0.003. All-time high was 0.009, so it's still 3x from here. So that's one that I'm super bullish on. It's the first meme coin on Bitcoin. So I talk about that one a lot because I like it. And it's got great distribution. And it is starting to get listed on Moonshot, and I forget what else. There's a few different things that have started to list it. So I like talking about that one. And not just because I have it, but because it's a really good entry point. You guys, we talk about like coins that like you don't have the insider info on and you don't want to buy into it, because like one right now that we were talking about in my group chat was NEET, the NEET coin. That one just launched and it's on Solana. And the NEET coin, I think I got in at like 0.006 and it's at 0.009 now. So it hasn't had a huge pop up because I wasn't in as early as everyone else. But like, look at, we're at 0.003 over here. So 0.0029. This is still just an excellent entry. So back to all-time high without any major central exchange listing is almost a penny. So all we need are some major central exchange listings on that one. So,
heck yeah, I like it.
Right there. You know what? I just remembered something. I need to go grab something. Hold on.
So, Dog is the original. $292 million market cap. Yeah, that thing can run for sure.
Okay. I forgot. I forgot I have a gift to open.
Oh.
I'm gonna hold it the right way so I don't show my address on here.
You want to dox yourself.
I know. I want to dox myself. Several people here already. I know. I actually saw some friends of mine in the group chat, which made me remember that I have my jail stool shirt finally came.
Oh, nice.
I know. Viva la jail stool. I'm so excited, you guys. Open it up and take a look at it. Yeah. So yes, I saw my jail stool fams in the chat.
Is that Portnoy on there?
It's Portnoy on here. Oh my gosh, it is a little big, but I was thinking if it fits like a man's shirt, I think I might crop it. Make it a crop top. I don't know. Yes, it's happening, guys.
You make that work.
It's happening. It's totally gonna work. It's totally gonna work. I'm excited though. Everyone's been wearing their jail stool merch, so. And then someone in the chat was like, why do you support that guy? He's a serial rugger. I'm like, well, the jail stool thing, the whole premise behind the jail stool thing is he told everyone what he was doing, and he's showing people what the flaws are with the current system. So
that's true. Although with greed, he said, I'm not gonna sell anytime soon, and then like 10 minutes later he sold. It's like, bro,
he meant not within the next 9 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, but I digress.
So, but at the same time, everybody is still begging for Greed 3. So I think that's the funniest part of all of this is like, I'll go. I didn't used to watch his live streams very often, but now since the whole jail stool thing and me making friends with some people in the community, I go in. Well, I'll watch his live streams, and so now that I'm watching him, I'm just like, he's such a funny dude, and the people are so. They're just so invested, and they're just like, Greed 3, when are you dropping Greed 3? Like, they're just like cheering him on. They're cheering him on. So yes, it's tough to say there. So all right.
He's very entertaining, that's for sure.
He is entertaining. And so one of the things that I don't go full circle on, which I probably should, and I actually thought about it on my walk yesterday. I was talking about Hayden Davis yesterday because the Melania meme coin sold off another 1.5 million in tokens. And, Hayden Davis admitted to being the person who launched the Melania coin. So we know it's him, and he's still selling, I assume. Insider Wallet's still selling. But if we go back further, remember Dave got refunded the $5 million. And that's part of what made everyone upset. But it was because Dave and Hayden were supposed to launch an official Barstool coin. And so that's the one thing that I think, like, and people really want the official Barstool coin, and it could have utility if you had it on the website. You could, if he was selling merch, you could accumulate like the Barstool token as a reward for your participation in the ecosystem, and then that gives you, you could redeem it for merch in the future. So he's got it all built in. So I'm like, he says things sometimes where people catch him in the lie, and I think that's where it gets him. Is he's like, oh, this crypto thing, I just launched a coin and everybody buys it. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. So he was playing a little dumb there. So but it's like, it's freaking crypto.
Do you think he'll still launch his own coin now that he has Jail Stool and he's been behind it? I don't know that he will.
Jail Stool's he didn't launch Jail Stool though. I mean, he has. It was given to him, and he said he's never going to sell any of it. And so essentially, I think it's like, if people are selling, it's got to be the people who want out of the coin. But yeah, the people that they still show up in the Jail Stool website. And I mean, the spaces, and they're in the comments, and so I don't know. I feel like if he launched it with the utility tied to the website and the ecosystem, because I actually went onto his website and checked out all of his merch and stuff on there. And I think that's where he'd have a benefit. Is like, people are buying a lot of his merch. And so I feel like if you're, participating on his website and buying things and accumulating this token, then, you know, potentially there's something there, and the community, they turn up. So yeah, I gotta give it to him. Like, they turn up.
If he does launch a token, I expect that you're going to see a lot of money rotate from Jailstool over.
I would imagine so. I would imagine that, yeah, Jailstool would probably go down.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Who knows?
We'll see if he does it.
Who
We'll
knows
see if he does it.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, he was giving back $5 million to go towards it. I mean, so that's crazy. So I guess the 5 million was a repayment for what he invested in the Melania coin. Is that right?
No, it's in the Argentinian.
In the Argentina coin, right? The Argentina coin. Yeah.
Because he was supposed to be gifted tokens over there, and then I think he also invested a bunch. And then when it got rugged, he said that he didn't want to receive the tokens anymore. He didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I think Hayden sent him money back, is I believe what happened. He got a lot of backlash for it.
Yeah.
But I believe that's what happened there. And then it came out that Hayden Davis also created the Melania coin. And
right.
I think probably a lot of others too. I think he was on the insider track on a lot of this stuff.
I mean, that's just it, right? It's like all of a sudden there were pictures that were popping up of him with all kinds of people. And look, he's been in the space. He's been in crypto. People know who he is. So it's not really a surprise that he's around at these events, taking pictures with people. But the one thing that I found really interesting is there were reports that there was an arrest. Interpol put out a warrant for his arrest. I didn't find it, though. I went to the Interpol website yesterday, tried to find him on the database. He's not listed on the Interpol database. So as far as I know, he's,
still out there
not being
somewhere.
charged with anything. So
he's out there selling Melania
He's
tokens.
out there somewhere. Yeah, he could be behind the neat coin. Just kidding.
I mean, you never know.
You really don't. You really don't. No, you really don't. But yeah, there have been a few different runner coins that have launched recently. And yeah, and it's funny because I have not been participating in any new daily runners, and I've seen a few hit the timeline recently, and I haven't really participated in any of them, but I did see the neat coin. And I did jump in on the neat coin, so we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I think Ansem was posted house, and that one ran.
Right, he was behind House Coin, and then Troll Coin also launched. But I think they're all different, like dev teams. I don't think there's overlap in them.
The only ones I positioned into recently, because I did do pretty well on some memes, and then you win and you lose, right?
Yeah.
There were 25 tokens that were created by the Pump.Fund team before the platform went live. So there's a list of those. So I just bought a bunch of those. And
people found those and started to jump on it?
That some of them have pumped, some of them haven't. And they might not ever, but some of them might. I mean, they're super low market cap. Some never bonded.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I found a list of those and basically just took a position in those, because I think if anyone wants to go after the lore at some point, those could absolutely run if we have meme coins come back. So I'm just sitting on them, see what happens.
That's smart. That's actually smart.
Potentially. Yeah. Maybe we'll see.
So your thesis is similar to mine of Dog on Bitcoin, which it's the first meme coin on Bitcoin. It's just it's one of the first ones launched by these guys. So yeah, I totally get the thesis there. So all right, let's move into some breaking news. All right, hopefully we're all tabbed over here. Okay, this is from the GNN. All of our new logos on here. Look at how nice this looks. This says Tornado Cash wins legal battle against U.S. Treasury sanctions. So from Gabriel, posted today, a U.S. federal court overturned Treasury sanctions against Tornado Cash, a landmark victory for privacy campaigners. The court determined that the Office of Foreign Asset Control had violated the Administrative Procedure Act. The OFAC cannot reinstate the initial sanctions without following the required procedures. Coinbase's legal chief, Paul Graywall, applauded the ruling on social media. He acknowledged that the government's efforts to postpone final judgment and praised the plaintiff for sticking up for their rights. Tornado Cash's Torn token rose 7% in the 24 hours following the announcement. It is up by 201% last year, trading at $7.93. However, it is still 98% below its all-time high of $437. So, looks like a good entry point. So, that was posted on our website. Thank you, Gabriel, for that. All right, and we will tap over to here. So, we used to do these deep dives on the channel, and I have not done any of the deep dives recently. So I need to figure out if I can set up a secondary station for myself, because I used to go over to a whiteboard and I'd pull up my whole fun stuff. We'd talk about stuff like ETFs and what's getting approved on a state level, and I don't get to go play teacher right now. So anyway, this is going about the NASDAQ filing to list 21 shares Dogecoin ETF. So, the U.S. exchange NASDAQ has asked regulators for permission to list a 21 shares ETF holding the popular meme coin Dogecoin, regulatory filings show. The move follows 21 shares' April 10th filing of its initial proposal to launch its Dogecoin ETF, shortly after similar applications from its rival Bitwise and Grayscale. The asset manager has also sought regulators' permission to list ETFs holding other cryptocurrencies, including Solana, XRP, and Polkadot. NASDAQ must gain approval from the Securities Exchange Commission before it can list and trade the fund. The request amounts to show regulatory review process could determine whether Dogecoin becomes accessible to broader range of investors through an ETF structure. And they have this whole list here of what I would love to have had on my deep dive chart. And I am so happy I didn't have to write all this out on the board for you guys, because that is a lot of different ETFs. So anyway, that's what we're looking like. This is the status. If there has been deadlines, they're deadlines, final decision. This is literally all the stuff I was putting on my whiteboard. So I was like, oh, good, I'll show this, because this is just like all the deep dives that I used to do. So this is great. This is great. All right. And lastly, we have this article here about stablecoins. This says 649 billion stablecoin transfer linked to illicit activities in 2024 per the report. Bitrace reported that 649 billion, or about 5% of all stablecoin transactions in 24, flowed through high-risk addresses linked to illicit activities. So we do talk about a lot here on the channel about stablecoin legislation and how it's going to more or less provide a view into what's going on with the stablecoins, different things that need to be included in stablecoin legislation, allows visibility, clawbacks, etc. So cryptocurrency compliance firm Bitrace found that 649 billion worth of stablecoins flowed through addresses classified as high risk in 24, according to an April 29th report. It defines high-risk blockchain addresses as those used by illegal entities to receive, transfer, or store stablecoins. Crypto compliance firms typically score crypto wallet addresses based on their likelihood of involvement of illicit activities. The higher the risk, the higher the likelihood of foul play, and the less likely compliant crypto businesses are to accept the asset. So I think we are going to see more freezing of funds if they determine that wallets are tied to these type of illicit activities. Per the report, the amount accounted for roughly 5% of the stablecoin transaction volume in 24. This is down 0.8% from the 5.9 of the previous year, but significantly higher than 2.8 that was reported in 2022 and 1.6 in 2021. So we've had significant increases year over year in illicit activity or transferring of funds between determined to be illicit wallets. So going into it, talking about Tron USDT tops the high-risk transactions. Tron-based USDT dominates the high-risk stablecoin transactions, with Bitrace data indicating that well over 70% of its volume that moved on network. The remaining high-risk stablecoin transactions are mostly Ethereum-based USDT and a small amount of USDC. A likely explanation for the prevalence of USDT is likely due to its large market cap and adoption compared to other stablecoins. At the time of writing, CoinMarketCap shows that USDT has a market cap of over 148 billion, while USDC stands at just 62 billion. So it's about half. Tron's prevalence is not as easy to explain. Ethereum remains the more popular choice for most stablecoin users, with DeFi Llama showing nearly 124 billion worth of stablecoins circulating on the network. Tron ranks second with about 71 billion, almost 43% less than Ethereum. So, interesting stuff there. And crypto gambling continues to rise. So,
it's very interesting. I mean, it goes to show this is why they want to get rid of cash and go into stablecoins. They want to be able to see everything that's happening. And I think this is interesting. Someone said, if they can identify 5.4%, there's a lot more. I would think so too. But think about with cash, how much illegal stuff is going on right now. So it's like,
and they have no way to view any of it. And this is just giving a little preview window. And all they have to do is like determine at some point down the line, maybe that fund funneled through an illicit wallet, and then can they freeze it? Because, well, even though you have the money and that's your USDT, we can't confirm that you weren't tied to the wallet before and the wallet before, which was the illicit wallet. So I don't know. I kind of worry about what's going to happen, because there are going to be clawbacks and stuff in the stablecoin legislation that's in there. So
yeah, that's gonna be interesting. That's why I just hold Bitcoin.
Just hold Bitcoin. The famous last words, all roads lead back to Bitcoin. Yes, I love it. All right. So I'm not sure if we will ever find David Gokhshtein. I don't even know if anyone at the Gokhshtein News Network retweeted the show today, but we do have 889 people watching the show. So shout outs to you. Thank you for being here. If you aren't already on our YouTubes, check us out. Deep End Connection, Bradley Meyer, he is here. I think he's going to continue to join us again because we have fun. We have fun.
And you made my introductory page. You have to bring
I've got a slide for you, so you're always just a shoo-in to come back anytime you want. But before we go, I do have a song for us to end on. It is a very famous song, especially if you have tuned in to The Breakdown. You guys, I had to work to find this for you, so enjoy.
Helicopter, helicopter. Helicopter, helicopter.
That's a banger.
Oh, yeah. So David, he's been doing the helicopter song on The Breakdown, and then I went and found the video for it. So, all right, that's the show for today. Brent, thank you for joining me again. I always love having you on.
Thank you for having me on, and super stoked to see you in Vegas and anyone else that's there.
Yes, we will definitely get together, hang out, make some content, all the fun stuff. So, but hopefully I see you on here before then.
For sure. For
all
sure.
Right.
Yeah,
we'll
you let me know when.
Anytime. All right. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.